For this last exercise this week, you're asked to create a Boolean function. A Boolean function is a function that evaluates to either true or false. So instead of just having your function compute something, you actually want your function to return something or evaluate to something. So an example of that is validating whether a row or column fits inside of a grid. So I'm going to create a function is_in_grid, which takes a row and a column. And this function is supposed to verify if it actually fits. So I'm going to assume at first that yes, it fits in the grid, and if I find evidence to the contrary, I will set it to false. So if the row is greater than or equal to the grid height, it doesn't fit. Or if the row is less than 0, it also doesn't fit in the grid. So in this case, in grid is actually false. I also want to check the column. So if the column is greater than or equal to grid width, and the column is less, and it's an or, not an and. Okay, one of these cases. It's not even possible that both of these cases is true. Then in-grid in this case is also false. Okay. So now I've done some computation. I've assumed it was true. If the row doesn't fit, I've set it to false. If the column doesn't fit, I've set it to false. So now what I need to do is report back. So whoever called this function wants to know, is it true or is it false? And the way that I do that is by returning my in-grid value. Okay, so I've returned whether it's true or false. So I can test this by calling is_in_grid, and let's first call it to something that fits on the grid, 2, 3, and let's print the results. Test 1. Okay, so this is when is_in_grid will return to me either a true or a false, and I'm putting that inside of test 1. Let's do another test, is_in_grid, and let's go out of the grid for the row, so let's put it on row 12, but the column is valid. Test 3 is_in_grid, and let's, in this case, the row is valid, but the column is not. So let's do a -1. And let's do another test where neither the row nor the column is valid. And let's pass it with a -1 and an 11, for example, or even a 10, which is my border. And let's print all of these test results. Test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, and see what happens. So, as expected, the first one gave me true because 2, 3 is in the grid, and the remaining ones are false because 12, 5 is not on the grid, 3, -1 is not on the grid, and -1, 10 is also not on the grid. So this is a basic way of creating a Boolean function.